Kenwolf and Redman continue to serve their prison sentence. Osred has been treating them a bit better, and we may allow them to join the forces of Blackness soon. There has been a major update, and we now have fire mechanics, new weapons, and training facilities. We can now build wells which must have water underneath them. For now, these are used to extinguish fires and to fill barrels. The barrels are designed to break open when fire is near, making them a fire hazard contingency. There are new weapons like slings, javelins, and throwing axes. Shields have also been updated to protect against projectiles. Most valuably, we can now build training facilities for marksmen and for melee skills. Very high up on the tech tree is something called Greek fire, a flammable liquid which can burn in wet conditions. That is something we'll look into in another episode. In this episode, we'll begin to militarize Blackness. I'll also prepare Blackness for the event of fires. I'll do a quick demo here of how a barrel works. If a fire comes near this barrel, it will automatically melt the wax that holds it together, releasing the water. So we'll place barrels in key places in the event of a spreading fire. The underground tunnel will be extended to reach the apothecary. Our secondary objective is to make the Great Hall luxurious by increasing its aesthetics. The temple needs improving too, but it's one big task at a time. As our numbers grow, we will need more chairs at the table. For that, we'll need a second table. So let's build some training facilities and militarize Blackness. The practice dummies used in melee are crafted on the tailoring bench, and the target practices for archery are made on the boyer or woodworking table. There is now a new job called Train. I've set it at very low priority so that they will only train when they have finished all other work. Normal oil is not as good as Greek oil, but it's still flammable. It looks like rain hinders the training facilities. I'll need to rethink my placement and roof it up. I almost forgot, there's a new material, dung. It's animal waste basically. It can be made into dung bricks, which are a superior fuel source to wood, but not as good as coal. I was so busy that I hadn't even noticed that Redmond had joined us. Redwin was a passionate farmer, and we absolutely needed someone to take work from Johnny. Just as we planned out some flammable oil defences, the looters arrived. It was another victory for Blackness against the raiders and the savages of the world. We had no mercy for those who would not surrender. Our newest recruit, Redwin, was keen to demonstrate his commitment to Blackness. David was taken prisoner, but Harold managed to escape. It looks like Kenwolf has some company again. We finished the archery ranges and practiced until our hands ached. We must always be prepared. Our enemies wait for the day that we aren't. In the morning, Kenwolf joined us. Like Redmond, he was also a farmer in the past, and he had a passion for it. But unfortunately, both Kenwolf and Redmond were actually quite inexperienced. They'd learn quickly though, and we can now expand our growing. By recruiting these two farmers to Blackness, Osred had earned his promotion to a rank 2 warden. He had become a better, more patient man with time. We have an ever-increasing amount of gold and silver, and so below ground we begin to plan out a vault. Osred now has a functional way to vent his anger. In a bid to try and enhance the Great Hall, we learned tapestry. Mary will now be able to make tapestry art from linen and herbs, and her art skill is beginning to shine. The warden no longer harbours ill will towards his former prisoners. Their rehabilitation is accepted, and we are all equal defenders of Blackness. At long last, the summer has returned. It was going to be a busy season for the two new farmers. But before all that, we'll start the season with a feast. It was about time that we finished the apothecary. We'd first learn how to make the medicines, and then later we would research infirmary beds, giving us an infirmary that we could treat wounded. We had a lot of vinegar from prisoner alcohol spoiling in warm temperatures, and vinegar is a disinfectant, so advanced healing kits were available for crafting immediately. We'd make all variations though, as they often sell for a good price. We celebrated the summer more with a ritual sacrifice, but sadly they forgot to tell Kyle, and he missed out. He was quite annoyed, but he wasn't that spiritual anyway. He did like the dancing though. Oh well, plenty more rituals to be had. Oddly, Mary no longer resented animal handling. As a rank 3 bard, she should feel unsuitable for such tasks, but her love for animals must have persisted beyond the reach of social status. Our community was strong, but we really needed a passionate cook. Our first wall tapestry was displayed in the Great Hall, but it was not enough to improve it to being luxurious. A room this spacious, double height, needed a lot of decor. The aesthetic value of the tapestry was huge though, but it just wasn't enough by itself. Our barley had been overused to make beer over the winter, most of which had spoiled in the warmer temperatures. Our new farmers were working hard to regenerate the barley fields with limited seed. Our temple was also aesthetically lacking. Statues and tapestries would be needed to improve it, but our priority was the Great Hall for now. A second tailoring bench was needed so that Mary could prioritise tailoring clothes while also keeping a bench free for her work-in-progress tapestries, which take quite a bit of time to make. We now had enough research to get the infirmary beds placed. The training facilities were used often, and novice archers were gradually becoming skilled sharpshooters. David had served his sentence and we decided to release him. The wealth and the security of Blackness was beginning to soften us. We might have been softening, but we knew to keep ourselves prepared. We learned religious structures 3 and slightly improved our temple and our church. We needed a strong connection bridge here to better access the land while keeping it fortified. The barn also needs an upgrade. We could also let the animals roam free around the mountain, as it's securely within our controlled territory. The rank 2 chaplain, Gerard Bolam, arrives in Blackness from our allies, the Faithful Sons of England. Secretly, he's an Oak Brethren zealot, but we'll pretend we did not know his secret. His participation in a Eucharist event will make it unforgettable, even without bread. Agacia, Michael and Harry are elated by the event. It is an unforgettable experience, but they will forget it in 10 days. The Oak Brethren in the community were a little jealous. To equalise, they have a grand feast and invite the chaplain, Gerard Bolam, to join them. In the morning we awoke to Livestock wandering around Blackness. I had not noticed the wall route that they could take to escape. There. To allow me to choose when I let them roam, I add a gate. Another bear. We can add the final trophy to our great home. The hunt inspired Kenwolf and Redwin to train their archery. Perhaps one day they'll be skilled enough to take on a bear. It's always handy to get out the old almanac when you're not sure about something. Greek fire has a lot of complex ingredients, but we also need a kiln to make dung bricks, which are a useful fuel source. They're more vulnerable to the rain, but they burn better than wood. They're not as good as coal. I don't think we'll be able to make Greek fire this episode, but perhaps in the next one. Fuel strength 3. With a growing community, we may need larger underground food stores. Despite several rugs being added, a luxurious great hall continues to elude us. It might be interesting to give Mary throwing axes and a shield. Her quickness makes her helpful in closing gates quickly when needed, and she generally does not enjoy fighting at all. It's not what a legendary bard does with himself. Still not luxurious. One last final tapestry to try and make this great hall exceptional. And we did it. Mary got her axes and her shield. We began to decorate the rest of the rooms. We even began to make pigment in preparation for unlocking painting technology. Overall, the grounds of Blackness were fit for a monarch. Our great hall was the height of luxury, and dung bricks would keep us warm this winter. The Oak Brethren Temple was being improved, but it was still a work in progress. It was now mid to late autumn, and this would likely be the last crop of the year. A merchant from the faithful sons of England arrived. We were able to buy a flawless iron greatsword, as well as a curved bow for Johnny, who was our best archer. With this greatsword, Osred just became even more deadly. We began to widen the river on our least fortified walls. We will likely build stronger fortifications here in the future. And we kept ourselves prepared. But we also enjoyed ourselves. I think Harry just saved that cow, but nobody seems to have noticed. At the end of autumn, A negotiator from the philosophers of the natural order arrived to extort us. Our preparation had not been for nothing, and it was times like these that we had been preparing for. The philosophers threatened that the forces of nature would come down upon us. If they truly understood the forces of nature, they would have known that Blackness, born from injustice, was a force of nature. As always, thank you for watching. All the best for 2025, and I'll see you again then. Take care.